Welcome to our little coffee videos, this time on how to set up your grinder properly. The grinder is probably one of the most important machines in your coffee shop or restaurant because it determines everything, more or less, what happens with your coffee machine or espresso machine with regards to the quality of coffee that comes out of it. With coffee grinders, you can adjust the coarseness of the coffee as well as the dosage, and that then affects how fast the coffee comes out of your espresso machine, and also then the quality of the extraction of your coffee as well. So it's worth spending A little bit of money on getting a quality grinder, and B, it pays you to spend a little bit of time to set up your grinder properly because it will reward you tenfold. My advice when setting up grinders is always get the dosage right first and then concentrate on getting the coarseness correct. It's difficult to know whether you got the coarseness correct if you got the dosage wrong to start with. So start off with the dosage and then go from there. So what are we looking for? Well, first of all, take your single or double portafilter. I always like to set grinders up using a double portafilter with the deep twin 12 to 14 gram filter basket in there. Dispense some coffee into the grinder using the double pull because you're using the twin spout, and then make a coffee from it in your espresso machine. So that's what we'll do now. Okay, so the coffee grinder has dispensed coffee into my handle here. I don't know if you can see, it's mounted up far too high. There's little point trying to set up the coarseness of the coffee if we've got the dosage wrong, as obvious as this. So we're going to pour this back into the grinder and try again. Now remember, you can change the dosage of the coffee by altering the spindle inside here. So to alter it, we turn it clockwise to make the dosage smaller and anti-clockwise to make the dosage larger. Okay, we've adjusted the grinder dosage. I'm going to try it again this time. Okay, we haven't got quite so much of a heap of coffee this time. It should just be about level after you sort of just push it slightly like that. It shouldn't be heaped up. Apart from you not being able to get it into your machine, it's also a bit of a waste of coffee as well. But we're not finished yet. So we've got the coffee dosage round about right, not exactly right, but this is round about right. Then we're going to tamp it and put it into the machine as normal. So we tamp the coffee at the front of the grinder. You don't have to put all your weight behind it, but you're going to put a sort of fairly firm pressure on it. And then don't forget to wipe the surface of the portafilter, this is this handle here, to get rid of all the sort of coffee grains that may be stuck on the rim. This is a really, really important step to prevent leaking around the group head seals in the machine. So always, always wipe the coffee, sometimes called blessing the coffee. At this stage, we're not worried about how good the crema is on top of the shot of coffee. We're not really concerned with even the speed at which it's coming out of the machine. All we're concerned about is what the dosage is like from the coffee grinder, and we can really determine that after we've made a cup of coffee. So if we just press the free flow button on the machine here and just let the coffee come out, for about 20 seconds, and then you can press the free flow button to stop it as well. Now, again, we're not concerned about the quality of the coffee in here at the moment, we're just concerned with the dosing from the grinder. So what do I mean by that? Well, leave the handle in there for a second or two just to let the drips come out. Take the handle out, and then what you're trying to do is examine the puck that is in here. Now, it should be fairly dry. It shouldn't be soaking with water. If we have got it perfectly right, what we should find is that when we tap it onto our hand, it should come out as a coffee puck. There we go. So there we have a lovely formed coffee puck that's obviously dry in nature, otherwise it would just fall to bits. And so we now know that we've got our dosing from our grinder about right, and we're now ready to proceed to the next stage, and that is to make sure we've got the coarseness right. Once we've got the dosage and the coarseness correct, then we can mark our coffee grinder as being set up correctly, and it doesn't need any further adjustment. Okay, once we've satisfied the dosing is right, we want to pull off all the coffee that is now in here so that we can adjust the coarseness of the coffee and try again. And then adjust the grinder, either coarser or finer, to either slow down the coffee or speed it up through the coffee machine. Now, when we were doing it just a second ago, we were finding that the coffee was coming through round about okay, but it was probably a little bit on the slow side, so I want to actually slightly coarsen the coffee. So we want the grinder hopper here to actually move to the right here, so we're going to do that by twisting it. Now, this doesn't need a lot of adjustment, and where it was a second ago was where the two lines lined up, so we're just going to move it very, very slightly, and it is literally that sort of adjustment that will do it. And then try again. Switch on your grinder. For about 5 seconds, and then pull off that coffee as well, because it will still be on the old setting. If I just take the top off, it will still be on the old setting between the grinder teeth and the actual dispense bit here. So switch it on for about 5 seconds and pull that off as well. Switch on the grinder again and leave it until it covers the baffle plate at the bottom like before. Okay, so all we've done is we've just turned the little adjuster needle, made it a little bit finer, halfway between where we started with and where we did it on the last setting, and we've adjusted it so that it's now in line with our original, well, more or less original spot. And hopefully this time we've got the coarseness about right. So we've got the dosage right, now we're seeing if we've got the coarseness right, and hopefully this time we should have a perfect espresso lasting about 20 seconds for the extraction. Once you're happy with the coarseness, then always mark it like I have here previously with a little Tipex mark, so that anybody adjusts the coffee grinder accidentally, you know where to put it back. You can see how sensitive these grinders are. So if you've got a mark which goes perfectly in line with the teeth of the grinder, or a cog of the grinder top here, then you know where to put it back to if it is accidentally changed. Okay, so we've made our alteration to the coarseness. Now we're going to make another couple of shots of espresso coffee and see how that comes out. Okay, so we've adjusted our grinder again. This time we're looking for about a 20 second extraction time. So off we go, let's see what we're going to get here then. Up to the line and stop. There we go, we can see our crema forming nicely on that espresso there. Give it about 10-15 seconds or so and you'll get the distinct layer of the crema on top. Nice golden colour on there as well. So I think we've got our grinder more or less set up correctly now. You can fine tune it still to get it exactly to 20, 22, 23 seconds or so. You can you can play around with it as long as you like really, but just so long as your coffee's not rushing through in sort of 10 seconds or 15 seconds, which is far too quick, and so long as it's not dripping through and taking ages to come through in sort of 25 plus seconds. Sometimes they come through in about 40 seconds, which is far too long. It means your grinder's far too fine, or you're dosing it too much. But this is about right, sort of about 20 seconds or so. It means that the water's picking up enough of the coffee oils as it's passing through, and you're then sort of guaranteed to have the right extraction for the coffee beans that you're using. My advice to begin with is to use a blended coffee. You'll find it's a much easier coffee to use, you'll get a lot better result. 100% Arabica coffees are not easy to use, they're very intolerant to a lot of things. Incorrectly set up grinders is probably the thing they're most intolerant to. So start off with a good quality blended espresso coffee, and then you should get some good results. Okay, thank you for watching.